One of the first things that's important in your 10th grade year is if your teacher suggests that you read the textbooks, you should definitely read the textbooks. Even if it doesn't necessarily increase your grade on the test, it will give you a better understanding of the material so that you do better on projects and stuff. Also, you want to keep all of your work and also keep it organized so you have access to it. The other day, there was an English assignment, and we didn't turn it in until a couple weeks after we had already done it, and I didn't have it on me at the time, so I received a lower grade on that. So it's important to always have access to all of your work in case the teacher wants it or you need to refer back to it for some reason. Also, you should participate in every single class all the time, mostly because the teachers appreciate it and it's evidence that you have good initiative, which is always a good thing. You should try to get your work done as early as possible because they could give you a week-long project and then you decide to do it the night before, but at the same time, they also assign tons of other stuff. So you should always try to do everything as soon as you can so that you don't lose sleep. And some work is a lot easier than you're going to think, and other work is going to be a lot harder than you think it is. So you should always go in without thinking, oh, this will only take me 10 minutes, because half the time that isn't true. And also, you should be thorough in all of your work. Teachers can really tell if you spend all of your time, or not all of your time, if you spend all the time necessary to do something, or if you just threw it together 5 minutes before, and it's evidence of your character, stuff like that. And you should also speak to all of your teachers during Smart Lunch whenever you can, because they are a wealth of information. Smart Lunch is designed so that you have time to do that, so you should definitely use it to your advantage. You should definitely always be confident. I know in a test, my score depends a lot on how confident I am and like going with my gut and stuff like that. Also, any presentation, part of it is always just confidence and at least acting like you know what you're talking about. You should know what you're talking about, but it's important to at least act like you know what you're talking about. You should also keep up with old information, especially in biology. The tests will include stuff from previous weeks, so if you didn't know something the first time you test on it, you're probably going to have to know it later on, at least for the exam, so you should keep up with everything from previous weeks. You should speak to your friends about the homework. I know that I definitely forget stuff that some of my friends remember, so it's important to have a network of people that you can speak to about what's required the next day.
So one of the most important things is that you should study even when there isn't a test, because if you don't understand something, then you're going to be lost during class, because most of the information pertains to stuff that was taught in previous weeks. Charge your laptop the night before. There's been lots of cases where students have had a dead laptop and complain that's why they don't have their work. So if you charge it the night before, then you'll be prepared for the rest of class. Don't give anyone your laptop or charger. That should be only yours. If they use it, then sometimes it's hard to get it back, and then you keep work on there and you'll need it for later. Go to the quiet rooms during Smart Lunch because those help you be the most productive, and don't be the loud person during Smart Lunch because you distract everyone else. So one way that we've grown is time management. Since there's so many projects and tests assigned at one time, that it gets hard to be able to juggle all those things at once. So you need to learn how to be able to understand what's due and when it's due. Like you should have a network of friends that you can communicate with just to be sure that you know everything that's due. Speak to your teachers if you're struggling. There's so much information you have to take in at once, and teachers are not going to think you're stupid for asking questions. Especially for a biology class, it's a good idea to go ahead and read the textbook. It's not something that's required, but will help you understand the information better, make you seem even smarter in class. And sometimes some of the information that's on test is in the textbook and is not actually taught in class. In biology, there's honors projects. We had 3 of them, which is basically 5 projects that you have to turn in at once, 5 or 6, and then so just go ahead and space those out. It seems really tempting just to do it all in one night, but if you want to get a healthy amount of sleep, then you need to try to at least get 1 done a week, since you have at least a month to work on them, so there shouldn't be any pressure with it.
Miss Griffith's class, which is American history, mostly consists of her showing us PowerPoints, and then we have guided notes on the PowerPoints. Sometimes you have to turn those in at the end of the week, so you should always do all of them just in case. So the test will either be weekly or bi-weekly on 1 or 2 chapters, so it's important to always read the textbook because sometimes there will be material in the textbook that it's always covered on PowerPoints, but the textbook material always reinforces it, so it's important to also read the textbook. I know I've always done better on tests when I read the textbook.
For Spanish class, it's a good idea to try to retain all the information, it seems like it's a lot, but once you understand it, it's easy to be able to figure things out. If you know if you know all the question words, for example, you'll be able to read all the questions much easier since you understand what answer you should be giving.
And for English class, it's really important that you always participate whenever you can. Mostly because Ms. Mickoff likes it, and also because it shows that you have a better understanding of the material, and talking about it definitely improves your writing ability when you actually have to write an essay.
For math class, it's best to keep your notes as organized as possible since there's so much information. It's easy to get it all jumbled, and so it's good sometimes to write it a second time in a more clear format. And if you have questions, please ask the teacher because he's willing to explain anything to you, no matter how stupid of a question it seems. And one of the great things about Mr. Spear, our teacher, is he will not only tell you what to do, he will tell you why that works. So if you don't understand it, you might understand how you're able to get to that point in the problem.
One last thing, this bench looks really nice because it's in the middle, but if more than 3 people sit on one side, it flips over. So beware.
It's happened to some teachers.
Yeah, it mostly happens whenever there's a teacher that sits down and they're not used to it, or there's like somebody's parent that comes, and this thing has probably flipped over about a dozen times in the past 2 years. So.